I thought by teaching them what I learned, which is you work hard, you get a good job, you're going to get the things in life that you need, right? Worked for me. Why wouldn't it work for them? Because it doesn't. Because the world has changed, all right?
Fox News, which actually tweeted out that video of an Alabama mother that you just heard from, apparently just realized that Americans are struggling economically because they not only tweeted about that, they later interviewed the woman that you heard from, Jessica McCabe. So we'll go to that interview, which unfortunately was one of the shortest television interviews of all time. But before we do, I think that we should listen to more of what Jessica McCabe has to say.
We struggled and it was tough, but you know what? We made it. We knew there was a light at the end of the tunnel with our struggle. It seems like kids today, no matter how much they struggle, they just get further and further down the water into the drowning point, all right? When I was their age, I was making less than $10 an hour, and I could afford to live on my own. Now you have to be making six-figure salary to get a decent, tiny little place to live. So what the is going on, and how do we help them as parents? I told my son, all you have to do is work hard, go to college or join the military like I did. He went to college, got his degree, got a full-time job. He moved back in with me right when he graduated from college because he said, hey, Mom, as soon as I get a job, which was within 2 weeks of him getting out of college, maybe take me 2 months and I'll save up enough money for me to move out. Okay, cool. It's been 10 months. He has saved almost every dime and still can't afford to live. Why are one-bedroom studio apartments almost $2,000 a month? Why? Like, I just don't get it. So I don't even think that there's even classes anymore. There used to be, upper class, middle class, lower class. It's literally turning into the ultra wealthy, and then everybody else is just poor.
Damn right. And that is a woman from Alabama. Look, I don't know what her politics are. Doesn't even matter. But the reason why I mentioned that she's in Alabama is because she's complaining about the cost of living in Alabama, which is a relatively affordable state compared to some of these coastal cities and the more expensive places considering how much people have to pay for housing. But no, these issues are impacting every American regardless of which state they live in. And some of the outlets that have been able to kind of push all of these important economic issues aside and hyper focus on issues that divide us, all of a sudden can't ignore this issue anymore. And so Fox News ended up tweeting that because the video had gone viral after Jessica McCabe had posted it herself. And then they later interviewed her about it. But the way that they talked to her and how quickly they wanted to change the subject was fascinating. We'll get to that in a moment. But Jake, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so Fox misunderstood what she was saying. That's why they had her on and were into it until she started talking on their air. Because they thought she was saying like, oh yeah, Bidenomics, it's because of Biden. It's no, she was making a much larger point about the state of our economy overall. And that's why it resonated. It didn't just resonate with right-wingers. I bet you most of the people who shared that were left-wingers. And again, we don't know her politics at all. And she could be a right-winger, she could be MAGA. And it doesn't matter, we're all living under the same corporate rule. We're all living under the same economic situation. $2,000 for renting an apartment in Alabama? How the hell is anybody supposed to afford that in Alabama? That's crazy, that's nuts. So look, we started TYT in my one-bedroom apartment in LA, and that was $1,000, right? And that was 20 years ago. That's $2,000 for an apartment that might be the same size or smaller in the middle of Alabama. It's okay, but it's not just the apartment, guys. Housing is totally unaffordable.
Yep.
It's impossible. I talked to my hairdresser, as you can tell, the other day. I just go into random places, and it's good because I meet different people. And so she grew up. She's been in LA for 35 years. Originally came from Mexico. Got lucky because she bought a tiny little home 35 years ago, back when it was affordable in Sherman Oaks. She's okay, but she's worried to death about her kids because she's like, how do you? On our salary, how do you buy a home? Impossible. Even if you drove 2 hours, not too much, 2 hours outside of LA, still no one that works on a real salary can afford a house in this area, right? And it's true in the whole country because her number one point that is brilliant and exactly right is there are no more classes, upper class, middle class, lower class. There's only the ultra wealthy and the rest of us. And that's what corporate rule looks like. And the entire country is vomiting it now. We hate it.
But let's also keep it real, right? Because you mentioned the homeowners. You mentioned the homeowner in Sherman Oaks who's worried about her children. How are my children gonna be able to buy homes, place to live? Well, the only way that would happen is if we really reconsider some of the restrictions on building homes. You get what I'm saying? Like places like California, under the cover, under this BS nonsense about like, no, we just want to make sure that we're considering the environmental impact. Like there are environmental impact laws specifically meant to prevent new housing from being built in places like California. That's the whole point, right? Because when housing is thought of as an asset, and it is in our society, it is an asset. It is honestly the only, well, I can't even say this now, but maybe 10 years ago, it was still the only thing left for ordinary people, ordinary working people to build wealth. And so since that asset is what they've invested everything into, they don't want the value of that asset to go down. I understand that. So increasing the supply of housing is going to translate to, in the short term, I think, the value of their homes, the equity on their homes going down. But I just ask the so-called, NIMBYs this. What do you prefer? Do you prefer to have your sweet little home that's surrounded by pain and suffering, people dying on the streets, people in just abject poverty, not knowing what to do, where to go? Or do you want to live in a society where everyone's doing well? You still have your home, you're still building wealth, maybe not the extreme wealth you're building from your home at the moment, right? But still, you live in a better society, it's safer, it's better, and people are doing great. That's what I want.
I know. So infinite greed, we can't stop the infinite greed. So look, guys, it's not just a housing issue, but on the housing front, later in the show, we're gonna show you a video from a Trump rally where Trump supporters are talking about private equity guys buying up all the houses because they realized, the finance guys, the big banks realized, oh yeah, real Americans are building up their assets in their houses. We should stop that. We should build up those assets.
Right, yeah.
We should own them, and then we should just turn them into renters, and that way we control them even more, right? And
that should be banned. That should be banned. Foreign investment in residential real estate, where they don't even want to live here. They just want to park their money in buying up entire neighborhoods, buying up beautiful homes, whatever it is. We have a shortage of housing. Why isn't there a federal ban on institutional investors in the short term until we actually build our housing supply? And why isn't there a ban, honestly, long term until we've really built our housing supply on foreign investment in US real estate?
And so meanwhile, as this great anger rises in the country from the right and the left, the corporate Democrats are like, I don't see a problem. Why? Private equity guys are some of their top donors. Then you turn to Trump and the Republicans. You think they're doing something about it? Of course not. Remember about foreign investors buying properties here in America? You remember the Saudis and the Russians bought tons of Trump properties, and he loved it and he bragged about it. And he even said about the Saudis, they pay $30 to $40 million for my properties. Am I not supposed to like them? So he celebrates the infinite greed that has brought us this problem in the first place. So no matter where we go, we have these incredibly corrupt politicians who are all in the same group of people that are robbing us blind. And on top of that, you add student debt, and you, as she pointed out, credit card debt, as she pointed out in that video. She says, well, the inflation has brought up the prices, but our wages haven't gone up as much.
That's right.
So now we're getting crunched and crunched and crunched. Exactly, that's corporate rule, okay?
So this week,
and I'm sure Fox News celebrated it, right? Like, celebrated her answers to that. No, they got her off the air as quickly as possible because they're part of the bad guys.
The interview was less than 3 minutes. They played her video, then the rest of the interview, the entirety of it was 3 minutes. But like a chunk of it was taken up by them just playing her video, right? Now, I want to just quickly mention before we go to the Fox News interview, credit card debt for the first time in US history has surpassed $1 trillion. Americans are dealing with over $1 trillion in credit card debt in an environment when the Federal Reserve is increasing interest rates, meaning the cost of that debt is even higher now than it was last year, than it was 3 months ago. Okay, that is what Americans are dealing with. So listening to this woman vent the way that she did resonates with so many people. That is why it went viral, and Fox News just doesn't get it. You're gonna see why in this clip, so let's watch.
Jessica McCabe, who went viral, joins us live. Jessica, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I understand in the aftermath you've been slammed by a lot of Gen Xers who thought that the comments were inappropriate, but your son, who read some of the comments, actually feels like he's less alone. There are a lot of people in the same boat.
Yes, and I think that's one thing that we need to take away from is that it's not 1988 anymore. We have to, as parents, realize that the economy has changed. I understand inflation. Prices always go up, but I think that lately the wages are not keeping up with how big the inflation has gotten, and we have to listen to our children.
We're looking at these beautiful pictures. Gosh, you have gorgeous kids, and it looks like a grandchild there too. What was your reaction to 11 million people can relate to this and viewed this?
Oh, no, wait. She doesn't want to blame the Biden administration and inflation for the reason that this is happening. Let's talk about our beautiful family. And doesn't it feel good to go viral online?
Yeah.
Anyway, by the way, I give Jessica McCabe a lot of credit because even though very clearly, in my opinion, Ainsley Earhardt wanted to kind of like move on to something a little lighter than actually talking about the economic realities that ordinary Americans are facing, McCabe went right back to talking about the reality of the situation, talked about what it was like to basically go apartment hunting with her son, said that even though he went through college, he did all the hard work that was supposed to afford him a well-paying job out of college, $19 an hour, which by the way, she said is better than what, a lot of people are making, definitely better than minimum wage. But considering the debt that people have to take out just to get a 4-year degree, $19 an hour ain't gonna cut it. It's just not. Yeah. We know that reality.
So right-wing media blames the Democrats, mainstream media blames the Republicans. Neither side ever admits that they have anything to do with it. It's always the other side that created the problem. Fox News blames mainstream media blames Fox, and they go round and round. None of them actually go to fix any of it. Do they get you higher wages? No. Do they get you your help with your health care so that you can afford rent? No. Do they prevent the abuse that private equity is doing to the housing market in the country? Absolutely not. Why? Literally all of the funders for politics and media are the richest people in the country. It's the same exact private equity guys. So all they're doing is putting on theater for you guys while that trash compactor keeps closing in on us while the media is telling you, oh no, everything is great. Don't you worry about a thing, okay? Just make sure you vote for our guy, backed by the same guy as the other guy, and then everything's gonna be terrific, yet nothing ever gets fixed. No, it's corruption defined, and the country is furious about it. And meanwhile, in mainstream media, they're like, well, I don't see a problem. There's no anger at all in the country. It's a status quo is fantastic. Yeah, maybe it is for you guys, but not the rest of us. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.